Hi everybody, and welcome once again to Oberon's Outlook on the Emotional Exchanges, which is my weekly tarot forecast for all things related to our emotional realms. This reading will be good from today, Friday, September 18th, till next Thursday, and that's the 24th. And then we'll do the cycle over again next Friday. So the weekly reading is based on the astrological elemental associations. So I'll read for the air signs, the fire signs, the water signs, and the earth signs. And we hope to reveal the various factors that are going on in your emotional happiness or what could be upsetting that emotional happiness. We'll give you a word of the week for each elemental association, which is meant to kind of either inspire or give you some sort of understanding or consideration. But before we start with all that, we also do a general collective thought of the week. This is for everybody, for the entire viewing audience, just to set the tone for the week. And for that, I use my Isis Tarot. It's not really a tarot. It's kind of a 38 deck that has more similarities to fortune-telling decks. Not exactly Lenormand. Some of the cards have been Egyptianized. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle those and give us our reading. And do remember that tarot readings and the like are specifically for entertainment purposes. If you need professional medical help, we're not the ones you should be talking to. You should talk to a medical expert, a legal expert, therapeutic pharmacist, etc. So here we go with that reading. And we have the fountain. Number 21. The fountain. Fortune and beauty. Rejuvenation. Intuitive knowledge, ecstasy, cosmic consciousness, the connection of the higher and lower self, the discovery of the cosmic truth. Also indicates large fortune, complete success, crown on the work, change in business, traveling, decisive intervention. So there's some good stuff there. Alrighty, so we're going to get started with our reading. And I thought I'd pay a little tribute to Hathor, who is sort of, not exactly, but an Egyptian goddess of love. So she is sort of a corollary to Venus or Aphrodite. But on this show, I tend to use mostly Egyptian symbology. So thank you for that, Hathor. So we're going to start off with our air signs. Air signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. So we're going to go ahead and do the word of the week for them. And that word of the week is justice. Put it over there for a moment. Justice. Justice is your word of the week. So in that, I'm thinking you need to apply supreme fairness, supreme decision-reaching abilities when you are called upon to make any important decisions in this next week, especially as they relate to your emotional lives or the lives of others around you. You need to be as fair as possible to make all due consideration for that. So hopefully that won't be hard. Alrighty then. And we're going to move on to the reading. What emotional happiness will you find this week? And we have the devil reversed. Well, I'm thinking that the emotional happiness we find this week is when we figure out how to dispel with our bad habits or the things that hold us behind, those repressed things that we let hold on to ourselves. It's not just bad habits, of course. It could be really very bad ways of being. It could be addictions. Maybe some of us in the air signs are fighting with some of our addictiveness. It's not necessarily just substances. It may be addiction to bad emotional patterns and behaviors. So if we're able to release ourselves from that, to maybe do some examination on our partnerships or our relationships and find out what's ticking our talk, as they say, and just kind of acknowledge that maybe and find a way to release that. And having open dialogue with our partners is really the best way to go. So then, what emotional challenges or surprises will you face this week? And you have the 9 of Discs reversed. Let's show that over there. The 9 of Discs reversed. Well, it may be something is really going to be taking you out of your comfort zone. And I'm wondering, of course, if it is that general thing there, you know, if you're working on releasing yourself from bad habits, part of that really is about, you know, challenging yourself to get out of your comfort zone. I think that's really very, very much what that card is indicating here. There are some things that are materially comforting or even just emotionally comforting that you will really need to challenge yourself about where they really fit in your life if you're really trying to make these changes. And so it doesn't mean you have to become the opposite of what you are now, an introvert versus an extrovert, or more commercial, less commercial, but you may have to really consider challenging what makes you comfortable versus what was going on with that first card, what you need to release or to change in terms of some bad habits there. So then finally we have what will concern our romantic, family, platonic, and other relationships this week. And it's the Queen of Swords, and she's upright. So that's kind of nice. Whoops, didn't drop that all the way. And I definitely feel the transition also from that Devil reverse there too, because I think that this is a large thing, this Devil reversed here. That whole idea about you finding your happiness or finding changes that are better for you by releasing some things, some bad habits, some addictions, worn out relationships. And so that Queen of Swords is telling me that you are applying that sword, that edge of judgment. Oh dear, isn't that kind of like what that overall card was, the Fountain? You know, the concepts of cosmic justice and whatnot. I guess it was also too your word of the week, justice. So I'm just going to have to put that together with all of that and say that you are really, in all of these relationships, or at least in some of them, the ones that are the most important, you are really applying this sense of decision making to those. And so you may be looking over all of your relationships in this pattern and making some decisions. And I don't think you're making hurtful decisions, but I just think you're making necessary decisions. And with everything heating up in the atmosphere, you know, it's just maybe really time for you to kind of lay out your cards. So I think that's what's going on. Okay? So that's what we have for you air signs. My Gemini friends, my Libra friends, and my Aquarius friends. So now we're going to move on to the fire signs. Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. You fiery ones. So what is your word of the week? No surprise. The Emperor. The Mars energies are strong, even if they are a little bit retrograded right now. I think they've just moved into retrograde in the last day or two. So I'm thinking that Fire signs, your word of the week is that manage, rule, be an authority where you will need to. That your week will be challenged by maybe creating some order, creating a necessary authority, establishment of some control, where maybe it's floundering a little bit. This may, of course, mostly apply to your emotional life. So there may be situations where you're just going to pull up your big girl or big boy pants, your big, whatever pants, non-binary pants. So no other comments about that, but you're just going to have to be that authority person. I know you saw the Scorpio thing in my mind, like he's going to say something kind of naughty. No, I didn't. But I was probably thinking it. Anyway, fire signs, so that's your word of the week. So hang on, but don't be afraid to rise to the challenge. I think that's really what that's saying there. So now we're going to go ahead and do your reading. And I want to thank everybody for coming today. Don't forget, TFT, Tarot for Today, is a live stream twice weekly. The schedule is actually there on the main screen here. Thursdays, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Sundays, 2 to 4. Also, this week will be the changeover as the sun moves into Libra. So that means we will have another monthly modality message. It's our unique monthly tarot reading using the energies of the modalities, which are different than the elemental associations, to determine how your month will go and what you may need to work towards or work with. Alrighty. Putting the final touches on this shuffle here. And I know I'm still getting used to my new haircut. I kind of went extreme there, didn't I? Okay, fire signs. Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. What emotional happiness will you find this week? Oh dear. It's going to be hard to find emotional happiness when there's a lot of things really pressing in. Mostly what I'm thinking I can advise you on is that your emotional happiness will realize that maybe this signifies an end to things with a little bit of light breaking there. You see the little bit of light there? There is always a sunshine. There is always a dawn after, despite Black Sabbath songs saying otherwise or whatever. There is always hope, even after the most down times. And it may be that this week shows a lot of really divisive and stressful and strife kind of things, attacking energies coming to the fire signs, or that they're just dealing with in their environment there. It will be hard to get through that, but the emotional happiness, I think, comes at the end of that, which will happen, I guess, during this week, when you realize that all is not lost and that things will move on. So then, what emotional happy challenges or surprises will you face this week? The challenges or surprises this week that are epitomized by yet another sword, the Princess of Swords. The Princess of Swords, who's kind of like the Knight of Swords. It's reversed. It could be that maybe with the fire signs, they are realizing there's a true emotional disengagement, the coming or going of something really important emotionally. It may be your primary relationship. It may just be a lot of friction in that environment, a lot of combativeness. I'm not signifying that relationships are breaking up, but I do think that it could be addressing what the Emperor is about, is that just you probably will be called to really be an authority here and to really direct the energies. That Prince of Swords seems to indicate that people are unhappy and people are really needing direction or needing to be heard or to shake that up. And that could be yourself even, but it could certainly also be the people around you. And this will be a surprise and a challenge. Then finally, what will concern all of our relationships this week, our romantic, family, and platonic ones? And we have the Six of Cups reversed. And that's a clear sign to me that that it may be that any of these or all or some of them will be subject to some melancholy. They may be also looking at how they regret the past that doesn't feel like it's coming back, and once again, this is all related to maybe the Mars retrograde energies and the other strong astrological energies, but it could also be related to the fact that the overall societal view on things right now is a little bit dim, and people are reluctant to fully engage in reacquainting themselves with life's normalities. Did I just say that? That was kind of a wordful there. So I'm just thinking that what concerns these relationships, some or most or all of them, is the fact that there's a sadness and a regret over the acceptance that we're moving on, but we're not moving on necessarily to recapture the past. We're kind of moving beyond it now, and we're just gonna say we regret that and we're letting it go. We're letting it move on. So that's what I have for the fire signs. Best wishes for this week. But now we're going to move on to those water signs. Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, the truly emotional ones of the Zodiac. And their word of the week is the Empress. And that's kind of interesting because the fire signs had the Emperor, and now we have the Empress. And of course, my own little fire sign, the Banshee, is often the Emperor, and I'm often the Empress, or at least, we switch roles a little bit on that. So what does that mean? Well, I think that water signs maybe will be finding themselves drawn to pure creativity, to really establishing and producing a lot of things, just moving out of maybe an inertia, a lazy rut, a thing that's going on right now. So I think water signs will be tempted to really just focus on producing, whether it's artistically or whether it's in production to their career or to their home life. It's keeping busy by doing stuff, and some of that will likely have a very creative edge there. So let's move on to the actual reading now. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle there. See what we can get for the water signs. I know you can visit our Facebook and I believe our Twitter to leave us a little tip if you wish. There might be a link even in the YouTube, and it would be much appreciated. But also to just like and share, make comments, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We will notify you when we're on. We have a lot of other content there, and we hope to be putting out more. We have a number of things we need to get around to, and especially as we're moving into the fall season. So you'll hear more on that very soon, I believe. Alrighty. And here we go. What emotional happiness will the water signs find this week? Oh dear. And they had the Prince of Cups, and that was the card that came up recently with the fire signs. And it could be that the emotional happiness is whatever is transitory. It doesn't necessarily look great, but maybe water signs are getting rid of some pain in their lives or something emotionally that is not really fulfilling them anymore. It could be putting a relationship in context, or really just sort of starting that over again. Let's say that the kindest way would maybe just be saying starting it over again, maybe with a new set of understandings could be happening in your emotional happiness this week. What challenges or surprises? It's another prince. This one's upright. It's the Prince of Swords. So in terms of challenges or surprises, it may be the prince is kind of like the knight. So it may be that we are drawn to just move ahead and accomplish things, that we are drawn to get involved in some projects and really start doing things, really start proceeding ahead. It's really about movement ahead. So I think this is the challenge, that we need to really do something, water signs. We need to kind of embark. It may be that due to that first card there, maybe we've been wallowing a little bit. Maybe we've been upset about the emotional wiggle going on in our lives. So I'm thinking that's what that tells us, to challenge ourselves to just pick up the reins and move with that. So then finally, what will concern the romantic relationships most this week? And it's the reversed Five of Swords. Nope, I'm sorry, Ten of Swords. The reversed Ten of Swords. Well, it may be that some of our relationships are also picking up pieces too, in a way, are also transitioning, are also looking at what has changed and what still needs to change. Romantically or family-wise, there's a good chance that maybe somebody has changed something significant in the relationship. A relationship has broken up, a relationship has filed for divorce or separation, a friendship, maybe somebody has really found their way out of a toxic family relationship. I can sort of sense that there. This could also apply to platonic friends or coworkers. We may find that people have really found some sense of courage to leave behind bad relationships, because these cards really will pertain to that emotional realm there. So I'm thinking that if you are a participant, you know about this, but maybe it's just really what you know from knowing your fellows at, in the various relationships that are important in your life. So I'm thinking big changes as people are finally moving ahead and discarding some of the emotional stuff. So that's kind of what we have for the water signs. And we're going to now move along to our final, which are the earth signs. And earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And they have a word of the week. Their word of the week, boy, this is so good for an earth sign, is innovation, because the earth signs tend to be the practical ones, the ones that kind of roll off of their emotions easier maybe than the other signs do. And so therefore, maybe this word of the week is saying, figure out how you can innovate some things this week. Maybe it is going to be your role to come up with some things that will really stabilize or further some of the emotional happenings in your life. Maybe you're going to have an original approach to being able to be with people who are pleasing to you. I mean, maybe you have a person you haven't been able to check in for a long time because of the way quarantines and various issues have developed. So maybe you're going to figure something out that will be helpful in the realm of emotions. So that's that word of the week. And now we're going to have our reading. And just a quick reminder too that on Sundays, Banshee's Material Matters will premiere at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's about a half an hour long. And both Banshee and I will show up in the chat room and sip some coffee and chat with you about the premiere. So check it out. That's on our YouTube channel. I know Banshee would be happy if you watched. Some lively chat there too. Alrighty. So we're going to go ahead and cut and read. And what is the emotional happiness that earth signs will find this week? Ooh, it's a nice card. Strength. Emotionally, earth signs are really well suited to do the best this week out of any of the other elementals. They're really keyed into understanding that innovation happens when you're able to understand and apply compassion rather than more physical force, to a situation. So this is what will bring you happiness, because you're able to really stabilize things and you're really able to appreciate others and others are able to appreciate you, and it's just empowering. What emotional challenges or surprises will you face this week? And it's the Seven of Wands, and it's reversed. And I think that what could be a surprise or a challenge this week is that you may find you're just not really as well prepared to handle some of the emotional turbulence. So you will really need to rely on where you can strengthen things. But it may be a challenge and a surprise to you that some of this is about making sure your positioning doesn't shift too much. You may have to work harder, use strength, and stabilize yourself because of this challenge that will clearly be trying to position you differently than you have been. And so I think you're going to be working on that a lot this week, trying to bring stability into the emotional areas of your life. So then finally, we're at the what will concern our relationships the most this week, whether they're emotional, family, or platonic, co-workers. And we have the King of Cups reversed. And I guess this is really telling me that what's going on, I guess really, you are going to need your innovative skills, you are going to need your level of compassion, because what will concern some people around you emotionally will mostly be a sense of not belonging, a sense of loss, a sense of not having someone they can talk to and relate to. You are going to have to try harder to be there for other people, Earth signs. And it may be that, Earth signs, you really are the strongest ones in certain emotional capacity, but maybe you're going to have to share a little bit of that with others, or be a little bit more open to sharing your compassion and strength, because clearly I think some people are going to be looking to you to possibly give them a little bit of guidance and a little bit of hope. And I really think that that's of concern, that those folks there are possibly really hurting there, and I'm thinking that's what you're going to have to deal with. So all in all, the readings show that maybe the Earth signs really are going to play a key role this week, but a lot of the emotional turbulence is going to be felt by everybody, I think, and I can't help but wonder if it's just really because of Mars retrograde. So anyways, that is clearly what we have for everyone this week, and I really thank you for coming along, and I hope you will drop in again next Friday, and I hope you'll see us at our live streams and at the monthly modality message and at Banshee's Material Matters. So take care, everybody, and please, blessed be.